Danny, it's good to see you, man. I'm going to beat you the next time we play a tournament together.
Yeah, I know. It'll be really good to beat your.
No, it's not going to happen. Welcome to the Pac Northwest. You went 3-2 into none of the good players from Portland, dude. Get out of here.
From Alaska, Grim After Dark, starring John and Danny.
Welcome to yet another Grim After Dark, the Frontline Gaming Network's weekly interview show, where we hit the high points of the last week in the Warhammer community and talk to the best players and content creators about the thing we all love, Warhammer, with a really fancy Zoom this week. So I really appreciate that. Thanks, producer. This week, the Lore Bros are back. Well, sort of. Tanner returns sans Taylor to talk to us about Hammer and Bolter, one of two new series available exclusively on Warhammer Plus, and a non sort of like an individual story per episode, I guess, would be the proper words to use. So we're going to talk about the first 3 episodes of Hammer and Bolter with Tanner, which we're super excited for. My co-host today needs some introduction. He's a MacGyver in the bedroom, and the fact he combines a lot of random parts together to just make amazing IKEA quality furniture. He is the master of the Mechanicus. Danny McDevitt, how are you doing, my friend?
John, I'm here. I'm ready to talk about Warhammer.
It would be great. The only thing that could ruin it is if a truly terrible friend forgot that you said that you could only make it later. That would absolutely, really ruin the whole thing. But hey,
it just enhanced the animosity that we naturally have towards each other. So it works out, man. It works out.
It truly is our natural animosity that gets people tuning in week after week. So that's quite fantastic. Daddy, I want to pull you in to talk about a picture of a very controversial subject, as I absolutely silenced my phone. Very controversial subject we have here on the show. The hype train is building. The word's getting around. Black Templars are awful. I think we're going to cover this just right off the bat here. This week, they previewed the brand new Primerified High Marshal Halbrecht. A very popular miniature here. Everyone seems to love him, but I want to point out 1 or 2 very small details that I noticed. One, he is so weak that he needs a servitor with a cloth to push the sword in his enemy's forehead. Truly.
I thought that he might be like the servitor might be removing fingerprints from the sword so that he couldn't be held accountable for the murder of that poor orc.
For when that heretical inquisitor comes along, it's just like, did you murder this orc? No, check my sword.
Check my sword, no fingerprints. This sword's been wiped clean.
Law school has changed your perception of things.
I know.
Also, something else I want to point out, he can't even shoot his own gun. He has a slave to do it, so he can hold a lamp due to what I can only imagine is a fear of the dark. Because again, if you were to have like a melt-a-gun with a bolter, wouldn't you want to hold it and kind of be like, this is a gun, I can fire it?
That's fair, John. I thought it was just because he had squinty-ass eyes, like he couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
So and what's that? Dude, look at him.
What's that right above his squinty-ass eyes is his beautiful tiara, which he insists on wearing in every battle. He is a beautiful, perfect princess, and the most unique and greatest character to lead a chapter such as the Black Templars. A man who is just a poser. And then, chat, innocent until proven guilty in an orc court of law, which I can only assume would be a raucous event.
It's the worst.
Hey, also, something I thought about too. They announced the new Black Templar set, with like the mixed squad. Do you know there's a thing as a Primaris Scout now?
That's right. It's actually, John, it's called a Primaris Neophyte.
Can you imagine, as I pretend to hammer only, because I get very passionate about this thing here. Can you imagine?
You're a passionate man, John.
I am.
I've heard you make many a passionate shout.
Can you imagine if you are a Primaris, stolen as a child, experimented on, all these implants, put in a tube where they hypno train you for years, being part of the B team that are hypno trained for like half that time, then pulled out early so that they can be neophyte scouts and learn more on the actual field of battle. That just seems like a really poor training system.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need probably some more time in the incubator. That's probably why they only have 4+ saves. Actually, I have no idea if they have 3+ saves or not. I honestly don't know. It's possible, I guess.
We're just going to assume it's a 4+ save with a 4+ up against mortal wounds as well.
Sure. That's the only thing that makes sense.
The only thing that makes sense. You heard it here first. The Genestealer cult rumors are also in full effect, with a rumored new character of a Saboteur, who we have an early look at here, being added to the range. This is, one can only assume, Jess Goodwin concept art for the Saboteur.
Jesus, is that a mime? You know that mimes are already in Warhammer, right? They're like trainee Harlequins.
I will tell you, I certainly didn't Google stereotypical French person and then put a purple color filter over their face. Absolutely, that is not what happened whatsoever. But yeah, so the Saboteur, which reliably we're pretty much hopeful it's going to be coming. Danny, there's like 8,000 characters as it is in Genestealer Cult. What is the Saboteur going to have to do to be unique or actually good for you, apart from looking like that?
Man, he's going to have to do a lot in Genestealer Cult to be good. Yeah, I mean, we don't know the whole breadth of the rules. I would imagine that if his name is Saboteur, I would assume that he sabotages things. I don't know whether that, that affects. It's pure speculation. I have no idea if he actually sabotages things.
Guys, you heard it here first. The Saboteur will likely sabotage part of your plans.
It's true, John.
True.
Maybe he'll affect strategic reserves, or maybe he'll be able to blow up a building. Who knows? Could be anything. Could be Hans Gruber. He could be just.
If he's on the top floor of a ruin,
purple
he
dick,
automatically falls off and dies.
Maybe. Yeah, once he gets to the top level of a ruin, he's got to take a check every turn.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
but if he does fall off on a 2+, he shoots his clip into the nearest good guy. Damn. Yeah, we got a lot more mileage out of that picture than I thought when I finished it. I'm going to be real honest with you on that one.
I really wish that there was a baguette involved in that picture, just to really hit the stereotype right on the nose.
I really tried hard. If you are listening to this and you are missing out on that live show, we do share these pictures on our Twitter, which is GrimdarkFLGN. At GrimdarkFLGN, we'll put those up without context. So you'll just have a photo of a terrible Black Marshal, Black Templar Hellbright.
Wow.
You'll have a photo of a purple Frenchman and a bunch of other things like that. Moving quickly on here. We'll move past that. This weekend, the Las Vegas team tournament, the first major team tournament run by Reese, seen here in 1994 when he first caught the Team Sport bug. And the Frontline Gaming crew, as the top players in 40K, will be heading down to the Vegas Strip to find out who the top content creators in 40K, as I assume at this point everyone who plays Warhammer has their own podcast or something.
Hey, fun story about this picture. Reese had only been smoking for at least 14 years by the time this was taken.
Daddy,
just kidding, Reese.
Teams is such a unique event.
It is.
What, in your opinion, makes a great team? What kind of components do you have to have? Because there has to be at least 3 teams out there who are like, oh no, what are we going to do this weekend?
Well, traditionally, as you know, a team is made up of 3 different types of members. You have the face, the muscle, and the wild card. So if there's 5 members, I'm not sure what the other 2 people are going to be doing. I imagine some kind of combination of face and muscle, or muscle and wild card.
Oh, that's terrifying. No, thank God.
But who knows?
The camera isn't good enough to catch up the tears. So yeah, face muscle wildcard. Tag yourself. I want you guys to post pictures of yourself at the Las Vegas Team Tournament this weekend, and tag yourself either face muscle wildcard, so we know exactly who we're dealing with when it comes to those results.
Because there's definitely no brain in 40K.
That's big fair, and has
Yep.
several different meanings in several different countries. Hey, Aaron Dembski Bowden watch.
Oh man, poor guy.
He'd be tweeting again, but that gentleman, he keeps tweeting out some really good things. Turns out Magnus did do something wrong. And the weirdest part of the Siege of Terra meetings is that he actually had to email a list of all the things Magnus actually did wrong. Which means, canonically, and Danny, I know you hate Thousand Sons and Night Lords, so this is right up your alley on this one here.
True. My least favorite Chaos factions.
Yeah.
Psych.
Okay.
This is an opposite day, John. Those are my favorites.
Dang it. Lawyered. So he has an electronic list of everything that Magnus has done wrong. Danny, you're a Thousand Sons aficionado. What would you say are some things that Magnus did wrong?
John, like it's in the title. Nothing. He did nothing wrong. The list probably that Aaron sent was just a blank email
And
with
a
a
dick
subject line. No, he keeps those to himself. He's like, I imagine he's like some kind of dick pic dragon where he's just kind of sitting on his hoard of pics.
That's how he
Keeping them
knows
secret.
he has a really good book. When he releases a book, if he gets like 60 to 80, he's like, yeah, that was a really good release.
The idea of him getting 60 to 80 pictures of penises because he releases a good book is just wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as he like, and then he has to go release Nemesis so that, you know, he gets less. That was a, I like that joke. That was good.
Yeah, I mean, you tried, John. I'm proud of you.
Dude, I try every week so much, and I'm being very conscious not to smash the table here. So I'm smashing the fake table in front of here. Danny, why don't you take us through and introduce our guest and kind of what we're going to be talking about today?
All right. So today we have him, the one, the only, you know him as
Herbert.
He's got one eye in the future and one eye on Black Library, reading all of their books, including some really terrible ones that he has yet to send me. And we've got Tanner tonight to talk about the Hammer and Bolter.
And I just have to do this real quick for Tyler's benefit here. It's Tanner Herbert, not Tanner Hebert.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tanner
Herbert.
Thanks for having me, guys. I also, as a recent Mob Rules listener, found out I'm also a Danny. I almost became a Danny recently.
Buddy, on the style guide right here,
Oh,
you're not allowed to mention Mob Rules. Both
my
in podcast
apologies,
form,
friends.
YouTube form or Patreon form.
Hypothetically, in how we are all a Danny, I too sleep on a bed that I have made. I combined an air mattress and my floor, and I've created a super mattress much like you.
Wait. That only has two components of the three required.
I am
for
the
a super
third
bed.
bun on the sandwich.
Oh
Danny.
my gosh. You're your own bed?
I'm very comfortable. I wanted to weigh in on the GSC Saboteur, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then
please do.
real quick, just to jump on in here. After that, there's something I want you to weigh in here as well about a naming scheme that I wanted your input in here. But for sure, let us know about the Saboteur.
Oh, oui. So, you mentioned that the Saboteur might appear on top of a building, perhaps. Yes, like GSC did in the past.
Perhaps.
However, one man ruined that for all of us who play Warhammer, and his name is Tyler
Bortel.
He actually, with the triangle-based violence argument, has eliminated that threat. So if any of you miss your assassins on buildings, please, it's the man who has to edit this. You, Tyler. You know what you did. You had a naming scheme, John. I would love to weigh in.
Yeah, hold on. I want to talk about this for a little bit longer, actually.
Oh, please.
Yeah, so you heard it here, everyone. Tyler officially ruined triangles for 40K. Like, just so everybody's aware. He ruined all of your deep strikes. He ruined all of your raiders. Feel free to send him all kinds of hate mail. don't though. He's a really nice guy.
But yeah.
But
He's mixed, but if you saw that meme of the triangle and the raider, just know it was in our group chat first, and then he ruined the game for all of you.
Yes, there was a group chat where it devolved into just conversations about triangles for literally a day, and it made me very sad. So yeah, that's I'm fine with that dying.
You had a naming scheme, John.
I did. So yeah, Warhammer 40,000's Facebook page reminded us this week of one of the worst choices in Warhammer lore history, and this is from a company that does like Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau or whatever it was called. This was their post reminding us that the quintessential Space Marine vehicle, the always overpointed, the never underused Land Raider, but also the Land Speeder, was actually named after Arkin Land, and not the fact that they were vehicles that moved overland, which is a terrible naming convention. I will say I'm a little upset they didn't give more recognition to either Kyle Predator or Dwayne Rhino. And this kind of continued Arkin land loving is like a little too much.
Or Chester Predator, that guy was a real champ.
Chester Predator is like a whole different thing.
Thomas Interceptor.
That man, Gregory Markax armor.
Man, that guy, he did not get enough credit, not nearly enough.
Did you have a question there, John?
I did. Tanner, what's your opinion about like Arkin Land and trying to like make some of the names of Warhammer make sense? Because like you can almost get away with calling, yeah, it's a Rhino and it's a Predator and all these cool, but like it's a Land Raider. Like, why do you feel they had to justify that title and not some of the other ridiculous ones?
Okay, well, two things quickly, John. Firstly,
sure,
worst Lord reveal in Warhammer. Right there, it's the number one worst, right?
Yeah.
But also, if you only subtract LAN, you get the Raider, which I think is kind of cool that they snuck that one in there.
So wait,
that's all I got for you.
You think it's not bad because if you ignore 75% of the first word, it's pretty good.
3 out of however many letters in Raider is not 75%. But yes, I think the Raider is a pretty cool suffix to add to a man. If you were John Quinnell the Raider, that wouldn't be so bad.
Makes me sound very like continental, like very fancy.
You mean like D'Angelo? Is that like what we're talking about here?
The Raider?
Like Land Raider? The Raider?
Danny, pull out your pen, write down Land Raider, subtract L, A, and N. You're left with the Raider. I don't see what's so confusing.
All right, hold on. I'm getting a pen.
Yeah, get
That's
your
fair.
pen.
Recently, his son Arkin Storm has released some more Primaris units. Thank you for the sympathy laugh here as I buy some time for Danny to do his math.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. Love it. Good times. So, moving on, as Danny does fantastic math here, and I stop hitting the table with the sheer excitement of all of the great tech priests of the Warhammer world and the bizarre naming conventions that we have. We were all watching some Warhammer Plus this week, and in particular, the Hammer and Bolter series, which is their anime-inspired individual story like Love and Robots series. Guys, what were sort of we're going to go like episode by episode to kind of talk about the story in between, but after watching sort of all three, what's your overall thoughts of this concept as a series? Let's start with Tanner here.
Okay, great. 40K is anime now. It's fucking awesome. I don't know what else to tell you, John. I'm a huge fan. I grew up watching Samurai Jack. That was pretty cool. I graduated to whatever your favorite anime is, Code Geass or what have you. That was pretty cool. And now we have Games Workshop on Warhammer Plus making our very own Warhammer anime. I'm a huge fan. I loved it. I love number 1. I love number 3. Number 2 was very atmospheric. I'm sure we can do details.
That's perfect. And then Danny, what was your sort of overall takeaway about the Hammer and Bolter series?
I was excited that I got to see some Warhammer stuff that was animated.
Love it. That's great. Because I will say, like, the last thing we watched together that was Warhammer and animated was the Ultramarine movie.
Yeah, do you remember that? Jesus.
I try not to. It was very painful.
I just like to point out how drunk we had to get to really like watch that like in a meaningful way. That actually happened. We filmed that.
We did film that, which was
I watched
how far that's how far we've come in
I'm
such a
so
short
sorry.
time.
Yeah, you should apologize.
What we're gonna say is we're gonna start with episode 1, Death's Hand. My favorite thing about this before moving on was we get to see little individual stories from across the Warhammer universe. And what I really like about it is Space Marines or Astartes have not played a significant role in the majority of these stories. So it's no bolter porn. It's no kind of like heroes come in to save the day in charge. It's little intimate, unique stories about little corners of the 40K universe. And none more so than Death's Hand, the first episode, right, Tanner?
Strongly agree, John. Strongly agree. Death's Hand. Can I give a little Taylor-esque summary?
Please do. That's why I threw it to you quite so
Boy.
expertly.
Boy. This opens with an Inquisitor who's clearly a f***ing radical. There's no way about it. He's bald. He looks like Kratos from God of War. He loves magic. He's a space wizard, if you will. Taylor's favorite kind of character, so he would be a huge fan. Yeah.
Middle name's Kaon.
Middle name Kaon, first name Kiyomaro. Big
Last
question
name?
mark. Last name Quinnell the Land Raider. He loves trading cards. He loves trading cards like many of us did when we were young. And
Yeah, for sure. He's
that's
gotta catch
not
them all.
cool with the Imperium, dude. It's not cool at all. And the rest of this 18 excellent minutes is basically the Imperium being not cool with him. I don't know.
Well, Danny, and you can kind of give some more insight in this as well. What I loved about this is the fact that the trading cards are both simultaneously not cool and also very cool at the same time.
Yeah, they are. John, look, the Imperium obviously is upset. They got a bad trade one time. They lost the Siobhan dragon that they just pulled out of. Like, but Shivan. I don't know, whatever. The dragon that they pulled out of there.
Yeah. They traded it for a bent foil blue eyes white dragon.
They got an ATOG. They weren't happy about it. And that's basically the end of that story. So they outlawed all trading card and collectible card games in the Imperium because of that.
Not only did they outlaw it, Kiyomaro, every time he gets destroyed in a trade, he kills the guy who traded with him.
Just straight up murders him, yeah.
Dude, he flamers him, he bolters him. It's a problem.
It is a problem. So we get the intro is this really cool blind seer almost kind of giving this reading and kind of explaining the Emperor's Tarot as it's laid out in front of him. Super atmospheric. It's a great introduction to the setting as a whole. It was a little cringy when his eyes started bleeding when the third card kind of got turned over. Like I was like, no, really? If it's going to make your eyes bleed, you're going to do that there. One of my favorite lines for the episode though was when he was like, well, it was like the Imperium won't remember your deeds, but I will, and then he just shoots him in the face.
John, I hate to do the jump in I did on your last episode where you had me, but actually that blind man is likely an astropath blinded by the light of the Astronomicon.
Is a side effect of being blinded by the Emperor's light just crying blood like a girl every few days?
I don't think that's any weirder than any of the other 40K stuff that we like.
That's
John,
real fair.
how many girls have you been around? Because my experience is they don't cry out of
Let me tell you.
their eyes.
Let me tell you, too. And we're going to move quickly on.
Okay.
So yeah, he comes out this room after he shoots the guy, and we're like, well, he obviously didn't like his card reading. And then we meet one of his retinue who kind of comes up, and she's like, what did she say? What did he say? And he's like, the same as all the others. You're like, oh yeah. And this is where, like Tanner, like you were saying, like it was said to me that this guy is very radical, and not in like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle way.
He's
but
not
in
doing
the
kickflips.
church way.
He's heretical, radical. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not talking Michelangelo here. We're talking straight up Raphael. And
yeah. You're just coming in with like fire references for the last
That's all I am. I'm like 80-90% references.
how much I appreciate how it's sort of been. So yeah, the Inquisitor comes. He's like, "Yeah, burn everything, kill it all." A really nice visual cue in this thing is when they were burning everything down. The eye of the Inquisition was watching them do it.
John, can I jump in and say that I love that this is the first episode that Warhammer Plus intros to the world, right? If you didn't watch Old Baali like we did because we're diehards, if you're newer to the genre and you just spent $6 to Google Warhammer Plus to find your way to the website where you log in to buy Warhammer Plus that doesn't bring you to Warhammer TV, which is where you actually need to go. Say you're hypothetically someone who would do that.
It's fair.
The first thing that you see is within 1 minute, bald Inquisition men don't like magic, but they rely on it. Number 2, the Imperium loves to burn books. It's in the theme. It's dark. It's kind of unpleasant for us who are literate. Boy, is this going to be elaborated on in episode 2. But I love that they hammer that point home.
Yeah.
Opening shot. Yeah, that's for you.
Absolutely. And then he's told, "Hey, you're being honored for being a great Inquisitor." And Danny, were you instantly like wary of this because he just committed murder and burned an entire library?
No, dude, that's what Inquisitors do. Everyone probably thought he was pretty dope. Like, I mean, that's what you would expect them to do. I expect them just to shoot everybody in the head that sees them. You know, like,
That's fair.
You've seen me. It's time to go.
Just strong Grey Knight energy on that one there.
Yep.
That's good. And then Tanner, take us along in this narrative journey.
Great. Okay, John, it took me
Yeah.
3 watches to figure out who the cool girl with the scar and the sword was, but I believe there's a term. It's called interrogator. Danny, back me up.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
It's like
she
an
was actually
apprentice
interrogator.
Inquisitor.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay, I know because I wrote down the retinue, who we're going to see soon. The interrogator
he's an intern.
says, "Hey, Kiyamaro, your buddy from high school, Space High School, just showed up. They're bringing you to Terra to get promoted." And he
That
says,
son of a stole my Kurt Ape.
Saved by the Bell really went
Sorry.
downhill after the college years.
Sorry. Yeah. It's a lot of magic references.
"Look, man, you're right on. You haven't been off base yet." She says, "You're getting promoted. Your high school buddy shows up. We got to meet them in the cool, heavily windowed room on our spaceship." And he says, "Ready the retinue. They brought 4. We're bringing 4 plus 1. Reset his kill count. Let's get in there." And so they do.
Let's jump on in there because one thing is like he's awakened this guy, reset his kill count. How of a design, and I apologize, Heather, but how bad of a design do you have to make that you have a killer mutant cybernetic monster that just stops killing when it reaches a certain amount? It's like 500 is enough, 450. Like if you forget to reset it halfway through a battle, is he just all of a sudden going to stop and scratch himself?
John, you're talking. Go ahead, Danny.
Go ahead. No, it's fine.
Oh, I was going to say, you're talking about the space empire of man, whose primary technological invention is a giant flashlight in the psychic warp. Like, I don't know what do you expect from these guys?
I do love that even though we said we were going to talk about Black Legion and we're going to save that specialness for when Taylor can return next month, that we're still ragging on magic as being a powerful addition to the 40K universe. It's really touching.
Let me hop in for a second.
To the 40K universe.
Yeah.
If you came for Black Legion, we'll be back in a month. We're going to talk about Black Legion. Let me represent Taylor briefly. My name's Taylor. I read Black Legion Book 2, as you, viewer, have also done to keep up with us. It was filled with Kion Iskander, an excellent character, well-rounded, loved by his friends, who did a bunch of exciting adventures in space, assassin, wise counselor, overcoming difficult hurdles. All of that and more by being a very balanced space wizard will be here 1 month from now. So please tune in.
Perfect.
And if you like these books, we're going to be doing Cyphus Cain for the next one. So if you're an old head, break it out. It's going to be fun. If you're new to the game and you haven't read Cyphus Cain, welcome to the wholesome side of Warhammer. See you in 2 months.
That
Anyways,
does
back-
sound like Taylor because 1, you're not screaming. 2,
Not
you're
yet,
not
John.
making sudden movements. And 3, you're making rational observations about psychers in the book. So I have no option but to believe what you have to say. Danny, this next interaction, how much did you love the Predator handshake?
I mean, it was dope. Like, let's not discount it. Right? It was good.
It was one of the highlights of the episode.
Was
I'm
it
gonna
for
go that
you?
far. For me, the fact they went up and did the "you son of a predator" handshake, and they did the same camera cut to it with the same angle, because that was a big highlight for me. It's in the style guide. The Predator's a great movie.
It's true. It's got one of the cast that has the most muscle mass of any action movie.
Carl Weathers.
Yeah, Carl Weathers, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse the Body Ventura, Jenny.
It's even better.
Oh man, have you seen him lately? I'm pretty sure he went vegan. He's very skinny. Anyway,
this will all be covered in our Jesse the Body Ventura podcast. Coming up every Monday on the Frontline Gaming Network. We're released on Tuesday.
Oh man.
Everyone gathers together in, as Tanner said, a very large windowed room. The retinues meet up. Danny, what do you think of kind of how they set up this meeting between the Inquisitors?
Well, the new Inquisitor's retinue just looks like they look like a bunch of investigators. Like they don't seem like they're quite as combat tooled as was it Kiyomaru? Kiyomaru. Yeah, as Kiyomaru's retinue, who seems like, I mean, they're ready for a fight. I mean, he basically told them they were going to fight, probably. Yeah, they were interesting. There's like a catechin. There's a scribe. There's like maybe some kind of a psyker, I think.
There's an Arbites as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. There is an Arbites.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Tanner, what was your take on the Red News and kind of the breakup between them there?
Can I say I thought the Predator handshake was an excellent part to intro this scene? My guy.
You sure can.
100 years since we drank Amasek as college buddies in the inquisitorial dorm room. It's good to see you. And
I just imagine it like Top Gun, where it's like inquisitorial volleyball as well. It's very exciting.
Do you think they slap asses in Inquisition school in the Skull of Virginia?
That's heresy, man. Heresy. Absolutely not.
Yeah, they don't seem
I feel like they clap cheeks. Yeah, okay.
Kiyomaru claps cheeks in this scene, Danny. For sure.
He does.
I really liked that they had one line of your favorite genre, the heist novel, where they're like, "You son of a it's good to see you." And then the next line was, "You came onto my ship just to investigate. You promoted me as a ploy." And then he says it and he shoots one of the other guys' retinue in the face, which is the second shot in the face by a bolt pistol in like 4 minutes, which is pretty hype.
It's his style.
It is his style. It's in his style guide.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me that this is essentially a heist movie that we don't see the build up to. We just see the heist.
John, everything you love is actually a heist genre. You just haven't accepted it yet. But let me talk about this fight because it is hype.
I gotta go find my wife.
Okay, he starts a fight. They have a sword fight. It's not very exciting because one guy's in golden power armor and one guy is wearing a cool coat.
Also, one guy has a power sword and another guy has a cane stick.
He's got like a rapier. Yeah, not very exciting. Kiyomaru's retinue destroys the other retinue. They shoot at a scribe who dodges out of the way a couple times, which is actually foreshadowing because if you watch for 20 more seconds, that scribe morphs into a Calidus assassin. And the music changes, and it's
what
very
I super
exciting.
liked about that was that every other member of the retinue was killed like one shot, one kill, like direct hits and everything. But the old psyker weird lady person dodged 3 separate shots.
Yes, that if you watch it 3 times so that you can take a half page of notes, you'll notice that it's definitely in there. The Calidus assassin morphs out of the old scribe in a pretty metal moment, which. The scribe walked into a bunch of fire that was next to him, catches on fire, and Kiyomaru's retinue was like, "Oh my god, he just caught himself on fire on purpose. What could be coming? Oh, it's Calidus assassin." And that's when my favorite part of this whole episode occurs, which is you realize it's 40K is now anime, because that Calidus assassin has a bunch of cool, like, runs really fast, dodges all the bullets, jumps really high, dodges all the bullets, slices Kiyomaru's Eldar Ranger bodyguard, where there's a little bit of hinting that he loves the Eldar, as all good radicals do, in half. And my girlfriend's friend who was watching with this went, "Oh, that was pretty gory." So that's a good hit. This is not pulling back the Grimdark. Like, we are not doing children's cartoons here. They got Can somebody help me with the Samurai Jack animator's name? They got
Andy
that guy.
Tarkovsky.
Very nice. Gendy Sarkovsky plus whoever your favorite anime animator is. They combine them together, and that's what we get to present to the world as Warhammer now. And it's pretty awesome.
I
Danny,
got
can you
really,
tell me?
yeah, I was going to say, Danny, I know I got really big kind of Fist of the North Star vibes from the animation style and the fighting and everything. What was your take on it?
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, or maybe like Yu Yu Hakusho kind of stuff. Like, but those are all kind of pretty close to that kind of era. But yeah, no, it was super dope. And seeing her take apart like the combat servitor guy was super rad.
I love the part where they release the mutant. They've reset the kill count. He's in. He's in
no
claw.
danger of maxing out at any time, especially
There-
because
So it's only 4.
His kill count is 3.
He can count. You can count to orc numbers. It's okay. He cuts a Catachan in half. That was pretty hype. Then he punches a guy into 7 distinct pieces of meat. And that was pretty cool too. And then he gets stabbed by Calidus Assassin. And the interrogator says something, which is actually, it's a literary reference. It's to a Dan Abnett book. They're referencing Glossia, which is like an inquisitorial code language.
Mm-hmm.
And they say something, the sun arrives over the dusky dawn at the end of night. And that mutant explodes. And that's our scene cut. And it's pretty hype. Storyboard. That's it. They were like, this guy sucks so much, he can only count to 4 for his kill count, and he's a bomb. But like, you got to have a 5th on the retinue squad.
You did also miss out, though, that he did curb stomp the other Inquisitor.
You're right. I didn't notice that till the 3rd watch. He kicked his friend in the face with a power armor boot. That was the not very chill.
It's not going to end up really well. Yeah, it was a complete reversal of the Predator handshake and just in poor taste whatsoever. But we transition, smash cut to interrogation room, where we have our Inquisitor sitting in this cell with the Calidus assassin sort of handcuffed, unmasked, which I will say, I was surprised that red hair is real hair and not just a part of the outfit.
I actually want to make a sincere comment right here. I really do like the animation style. It's very cool. I'm referencing Samurai Jack because I love that art. The facial bone construction of everybody in this animation is very distinctive. Like our Kiyomaru Inquisitor, who's actually Kratos from God of War, has like 6 different layers to the bumps on his head because he's definitely a bad guy. And our Calidus Assassin has a chin that is like 8 inches long because she is elegant and refined. And I like that they're dramatic about it. It's really cool.
More bones means more bad.
Yeah, 40K is an aesthetic. And they do a good job with this, even if we're memeing on it. Like it really does convey the setting in a relatable way. Sorry, go back to memeing.
Danny, so we're interrogating. She has like the biggest poop eating grin on her face the whole time. They have like the special handcuffs, which means she can't change shape. And she was just like, I'm not here to kill you. Then proceeds to cut her hand in half.
Yeah, that was pretty gory, John, when she did that. It was pretty tough, though. Like, that's a pretty boss move right there. It's like a real display of dominance to cut your own hand in half to make yourself look tough. Don't you
with
think?
With the line of, what was it? It's never the many, it's always the few or the one that topple empires. And she was just like really like badass the whole time she was there. What were your thoughts, Danny, on where this episode was going when we were kind of locked in that little room with the assassin and the Inquisitor?
I mean, I thought that they were gonna like maybe have her escape and then kill him. But the twist was super dope. Like that was my favorite part of the whole episode by far. Because like, I don't know. And can I talk about the end scene? Do you want me to?
Yeah.
All right.
Heck yeah, you go
So,
on.
The Vindicare shooting through the porthole in this epic space shot, like on like the outside of a spaceship to shoot the other spaceship. Like it was an absolutely insane shot, right? He drills it perfectly. And she's like, oh yeah, the whole point of this was just to get you here with me in this room in front of the window. And like, then she kind of ducks down and he just rails the dude. It was so great. That guy got like 360 no scope, like out of his mind. It was awesome.
I will
That
say that
Vindicator-
Vindicator was probably sitting on that hull of that spaceship for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
He's like, okay, this is the plan, Calidus. Well, like, Megan the Calidus assassin. We're like, okay, you're gonna go. You're gonna pretend to be an old woman. You're gonna
Megan?
dodge. You're gonna dodge 3 bullets. Then you're gonna transform. You're gonna murder everyone. This secret servitor will jump down. You're gonna kill him, but let the bomb explode you to when you can pretend to be knocked out to go to this room, which I'm sure there's only one cell on this entire ship. It is a heist movie. Damn it.
Sorry, John. That's
Yep.
how it goes. It's a great genre. Get over it. I want to say, Danny, before the Inquisitor Kiyomaru gets sniped, there is a cool little sequence where the Inquisitor's like, I've broken everybody in the room, after she cuts her hand on the dagger. And she's like, well, you've been interested in the tarot cards. Can I tell you your tarot card future? And starts to lay them out, but then just tells him the story of how a Vindicator assassin is made. And as I was watching this with someone who had never been exposed to 40K, they were sitting there like, the hands creeping up the face as that child is like taught to murder more and more and more people and get exponentially jackeder. I mean, Predator levels of swole at the end of that thing.
Right.
A lot
And
of
that was-
Predator references.
Yeah, Predator
Go.
is a great franchise.
It
But-
is.
That part was a very
Well-
cool part.
Danny.
You've seen have you guys seen Predators? That's a terrible movie. Come
So
on.
anyway.
Okay.
All right.
Anyways, that was a cool lead up to him getting shot. And also, in that they're doing the whole like she moves her head, she flexes on the Inquisitor, she tells him a fake story, and he gets sniped. She then puts her hand up, and her shackles get sniped as well. And then she walks out as the Inquisitor, and like all cool guys in an action movie, throws a grenade and leaves an explosion without looking back. And I thought that was a pretty good like flex at the end of that scene. I was a big fan all the way through.
How many times do you guys think she's done that move of just throwing a grenade and not looked at the explosion? It's going to be pretty boring, I would assume, by that point in her career.
They practiced that at the at the Assassinorum. That's part of the. You haven't read the book I've sent you yet, but they run on really big hamster wheels and they practice walking away from explosions. That's part of the Calidus thing.
That's how they power the air conditioning for the unit.
Yeah, that's canonical.
So that was Death's Hand. A really great introduction and very atmospheric. If you guys have the chance, absolutely go out and check it out there. Episode 2, Tanner. This one, I think I talked to you earlier. I described this as a sound engineer's portfolio project.
John, can I give you and the podcast listeners, shout out to my Hydro homies, a visual representation of my review of these 3 episodes?
Yeah,
This is my notes for episode 1.
yeah, those look concise.
This is my notes for episode 3.
Well, that's very concise.
This is my notes for episode 2.
For
Oh.
those listening, day after, there is a blank page. So there's full pages for episode 1, full page for episode 3, blank page episode 2.
Let me give you a quick Taylor-esque summary of this one. You
Sure.
follow a man who is in some sort of hilariously fascistic, terrible, dystopic, imperial
So the Imperium.
religious ministry. Yeah, you get a good sense of how the Imperium sucks. There's a loudspeaker while he's trying to be a priest that says, no talking, no thinking, no reading, only counting. And then the episode continues and he counts a lot. And then he finds a book sometimes he doesn't find a book, and then demons, and then the episode is over. Thoughts? I loved it, but I mean, really, come on.
Danny, what were your thoughts on this one here? Because I mean, not to knock, because I did really enjoy this episode a lot, but Tanner's description is pretty accurate about the
I
plot.
loved it as well, John, but
I think it. So like, I think that like the first animated short kind of or episode kind of puts you into the action sense of 40K, or maybe even to like the Inquisition, like kind of like arena, but you don't get how truly bleak the Imperium is until you watch this episode, and then you kind of get that sense like, oh my god, this is just awful. Why would I ever want to take this seriously and like want to emulate this? Like, I mean, it just gives off those kind of vibes, right?
And
Danny-
for everyone who was like, yeah, I would totally live in the Warhammer universe. Yeah, I would survive. You wouldn't be a space marine. You would literally be this guy. like the whole time. As Tanner touched on a little bit there, his job is to count the books in a library and pray in between every number that's counted.
Yeah.
All while a loudspeaker tells him that thinking is bad, reading is bad. Do your job. Don't speak.
Speaking is bad too. Danny, I want to back you up. I actually did love this episode. It, as John said, it is a project in displaying atmosphere. And one of the cool parts about 40K lore is that when you're not playing the game, you're not reading like a Bolter Porn Space Marine novel for Mary Sue players or whatever. It really hammers in everything is terrible. The good guys are bad guys. There's no good guys in this universe, and everything is dystopic. It is bleak. It is empty of purpose and meaning. That part was pretty cool. Midway through the episode, this man who counts finds a book that is like sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, and he has like a there's demons behind me sort of spooky moment with a bunch of arms and claws, and then it's not very clear what occurs. But then 8-9 minutes later, this loops back, and the spooky moment with claws happens, but he reads the book and he's sucked into Tzeentch's realm. And I love this because I play Chaos, but I kind of was disappointed because I think they should have like really hammered home literacy is the biggest danger to the Imperium, and I think they really missed an opportunity there.
Yeah.
But he's absorbed into the book, which as he pulls the book out, it's like got the face of the friend who mentioned to him that there was a book to be there in the beginning who was never actually at the priesthood. But the second time he gets sucked into the book, and then this deacon who's providing books to these preachers who are only literate enough to do damage to the Imperium, he hands them out these demonically tainted books. And that was pretty cool because Tzeentch is the changer of ways. He's a good god. He's like number 2 out of 4. So
it's like top 50th percentile of Chaos gods.
Absolutely the top half.
There's a couple things I noticed sort of in the second watching I didn't pick up on in the first, because I was surprised when they went demonic possession. I thought they were going more kind of everyday life in the Imperium and the drudgery of it all. The fact that the book that was missing was book number 9999 was very, I was like, oh, that's a Tzeentch thing. I know that's pretty cool. And then for me, it's a really great example of, you get these people like, well, you have these Imperial worlds, they're on lockdown, or they're shrine worlds, or there's no way chaos could spread, or there's no way heresy could happen. And this is a really fantastic way of showing how easily it is to actually spread and influence chaos throughout. Like, Danny, do you think this is kind of like a commentary? Like I've always thought is like, you know, I guess an organized meeting, like someone put up flyers or something, but this insidiousness was just really well done.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sorry, was there a question that you wanted to ask?
Like, I was just throwing it to you to talk about the episode a little bit.
No.
Yeah. Question to leave you flailing.
Yeah, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
I do love to flail. It's one of my preferred movement methods. Yeah. But again, like I said, this super bleak look on the Imperium is it needs to be shown, right? Because I don't think there's been a moment other than maybe like some flash scenes in a book or something like that, or side scenes, like where it doesn't really matter, like where this stuff is actually discussed or like seen. And it's cool to see like exactly how awful and boring the Imperium actually can be.
Yeah.
Can I jump in on this one?
Oh, go.
Yeah. Danny, I totally agree. I'm torn because I want to talk about how much I agree that the bleakness of the Imperium should be emphasized. On the other hand, the fact that if you can read 9 5 times in a row, you become a demon book is a little bit of a bummer. But yeah, the opening and closing shots of this episode were actually really cool, right? Because they showed all of these priests all across these different worlds or different parts of the world, all reading from the same book. And they showed one reading of the first section, the second is reading the next, right? They're all presenting the same message. And then when they insert this demon book at the close of the episode, they replace the Emperor of Mankind with the Changer of Ways or whatever. And they show that like subtle, insidious nature that chaos brings. I hate to have this complaint, but like if you've read the book 1,000 times, don't you notice the change? You're like, oh damn, it doesn't say the Emperor this time.
Or are you that heretical that you're just reading, you're not comprehending?
Good point, John.
based on the
Great
way
point.
Imperium sort of has. And just kind of wrap this up here because I do want to save the majority of our leftover time for Old Baelai, the third and previewed one, which was quite phenomenal. The no one noticed the fact that the high priest or the high librarian person had a bird arm. So the real way to stop chaos is sleeveless robes. So that is the only way to stop heresy in the Imperium.
Literacy and long sleeves are the enemy.
Yeah. Much like the movie Predator, where long sleeves are heartily discouraged. Yeah, don't forget old Chester Predator.
Chester Predator is a big believer in the sleeveless robe. It's the least heretical look out there.
That
Old Baelai.
and a weak mustache, John.
Wee. Episode 3, Old Baelai, is the beautiful tale of a runter talking to a couple of orc youths. I want to point out really quick that I love the fact that they used the term orc youth as a giant Gorka Morka fan. I love that was thrown in there. Talking about the legend of Commissar Yarrick and sort of how he came into that. Tanner, take us through this amazingly over-the-top anime episode.
Oh, John. I was really hoping you'd throw it to me. Okay. You know I like to talk about structure rather than specifics. He talks to the orc youths, but more importantly is the presentation. Because he presents the story of Old Baelai, which is Yarrick, as a hype wrestling promo. JT McDowell, you should try and do better than this promo. He says, y'all need proper enemies. He says, Beakies is well hard. He says, Pointies is fast and well stabby, but you need a proper enemy. And it comes in with a sick metal riff when he begins the story. There are orc hieroglyphs falling all over the screen. It's like WWE and Games Workshop came together to do a double wrestling promo intro, and I love it because they were going to do like that tired orc cockney thing the whole way through, and that was going to be pretty rough. So I love how on the nose this is.
Danny, I was going to say, Danny, we do both hate orc speak and orc speak in general. When it kind of first started up and you saw that it was going to be narrated by an orc, what were your thoughts?
Oh, me? Okay, so I actually haven't seen this yet, so I'm really excited to hear about what you guys think of this.
Oh, man.
I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Okay, Danny,
I'm so hyped. Tanner, when you described it, I literally got goosebumps. I'm so excited to listen to this.
Danny, I am not shitting you when I say orc hieroglyphs. You know how in the codex for fellow orc players, there's like 9 hieroglyphs, and they say this is how orcs write, right? They have 9 letters that are also words. They drop them all over the screen like you're playing Tetris to describe to the orc literate viewers what's going on in the story. So let me tell you the story.
Obviously hasn't owned the 2nd edition Orc Codex, or they would know there was an awful lot more hieroglyphs than the 6 or 7.
John, I'm half your age and half as literate in orc writing. Okay.
Okay. Describe the episode.
Okay. These poor orc youths don't have proper enemies. They're trying to eat grots. They're not trying to fight cool heroes of the Imperium. So this guy lays down the law and he says, you need a proper enemy. You need to fight someone like Old Baelai, like Ghazghkull does. He describes the first time Ghazghkull and his crew land on Armageddon. And he says, I gotta say, they did this video that you didn't watch came out right before the Snake Bites Heavy Orc release. So they do a really good job of like, Ghazghkull sends out his toughest, most resilient snakebite orc warrior. And he's got a sick mohawk. You can buy him in the upcoming starter set. And this man runs up to Yarrick, and they have a cool little fight. Yarrick shoots at the orc dodges the bullets. He fights him with the chainsaw. The orc's like, I'm a giant snakebite, no problem, bro. The orc snips off Yarrick's arm, so Yarrick kills him with the chainsaw. He takes the claw, the first step in Yarrick's seminal journey to becoming the coolest anti-orc Imperium hero. And then he makes all of the orcs in the entire WA fail a morale check, and they all run back. That's the first of the 3 arcs. John, correct me if I'm wrong.
He holds up the claw, and he's like for like, you take my arm, I take yours. Who else wants to give me body parts? And the orcs all run away. What I love most about this part of the story is I believe we're using that unreliable narrator trope. I really don't feel that Yarrick had his arm cut off and then made this giant killer speech. I feel he very luckily killed an orc in combat. But again, the story is now just so seminal. Tanner, something I want to ask you. Do you imagine a live action version of this, Yarrick being played by Nicolas Cage? Because I instantly saw Nicolas Cage.
I think Nicolas Cage would do an excellent job. The part where he falls to his knees and holds up the stump of his arm would be like the highlight of the film.
Oh, man.
And then when he like, yeah. I mean, Yarrick does scream, and it's a pretty pained scream. So props to the voice actor. Predatory business practices keep us from knowing who that actor is, but whoever did that shout, you did a good, compelling job. The next part, Danny, is the second time Yarrick faces Ghazghkull, and this time Yarrick goes after Ghazghkull. He chases his fleet down, and they show it to you on this like little display with a planet where the orcs are and some arrows represent Yarrick. It's actually really funny. And this, because it's being narrated by the runt herd, he says like Yarrick ran away, or Yarrick chased Ghazghkull, but Ghazghkull's both cunning and brutal, because we got two adjectives for orcs, right?
Yep.
It was a trap, and a bunch of orcs show up around Yarrick's fleet. It's big, angry arrows that are green. They defeat Yarrick. He's confronted by Ghazghkull. He's made a slave. John, can I just like speed through the slave rebellion?
Yeah. Let's not.
He leads a slave rebellion. They take over this giant space hulk, and then they blow it up. And the orc youths are like, "Did that kill Yarrick?" And he's like, "Oh no! A proper enemy would never die to an explosion from behind."
My favorite part about this was that they described it as they went straight to the boss hole.
They did go to the boss hole.
That's what they called the command deck, was the boss hole. So Yarrick went right in the boss hole and just unloaded on a bunch of boys.
A bunch of boys.
Old Baelai. It's all up in the boss hole.
So after old Baelai unloads on the boys in the boss hole, he is.
Why wasn't that the episode title?
You did a bad SEO job, dude. He is rebuilt by a bunch of rots. They dress him in his commissar robes. They put the power fist, power claw back on. They give him the gun. They give him the laser eye that insta kills orcs. And Gaz is like, "You're going home." Yarrick's like, "Is this a trick?" He's like, "No, proper enemies is hard to find." And so they send him back to Armageddon, where Yarrick grows even older, even though he can't die, because orcs believe he's a big scary guy, so he's immortal or whatever.
That would be really annoying after a while. Like, imagine you're like 200-300. You've seen all your friends and family die. You've gone through all these battles and you've done stuff. But because a race believe you're so badass that you cannot die. It's like the quantum leap problem, but immortality.
John, it's in the scene. They show him sitting at a desk writing something, and then he looks outside and some lightning comes down. He looks at a statue of his younger self, who's like 400 years younger. And then he just goes, "Rah," and he yells really like big anime hands. And he
I felt Nicolas Cage in this scene too, like really hard.
He throws a rock through some glass, Danny. He gets his old shit back out. The coat, the claw, the gun, and the laser eye. And then Gaz attacks Armageddon again. And this time, they really pitch you all of the orc kits. They're like, Gaz brought...
There's a shock jump Japsta and a dragster.
There's a shock. Yeah. There's a speed wall this time.
Yeah. You had you got to see the shock attack gun work, like sucking up snotlings and firing those guys. You see all of the cool kits that take up too much warehouse space in action.
Yeah, one at a time, cutting across the screen in different panels, just in case you don't know what box to buy next.
Dude,
my favorite one was when 50 kill rigs came and stopped right in the middle of the frame. And then revved engines them backed away just to show they can't be destroyed.
The way that you guys are describing this reminds me of the intergalactic cable episode of Rick and Morty with the two brothers, like of that movie, because it sounds like it just gets more and more ridiculous, but also more and more awesome. Like, I love it, man. I can't wait to watch this now.
You're 100% on. There's a kit that you can't buy though that comes up in this quick story, which is the rock. Gaz drops some rocks so the orcs can get some fortresses or whatever, right? And then they show Yarrick showing up with like 10,000 Leman Russes all at once. And then there's, you guys watch the Clone Wars, the animated series, I'm sure. You know how every episode had a scene where each side fires like 10,000 bullets at each other at the same time?
Sure.
And the screen fills? They do that. Yeah, they do that, but they shoot at the rocks, and there's a cool little action sequence, and then Yark defeats the orcs again, and that's the end of the episode, John.
Yeah,
Any
it's
addendum?
beautiful. Big respect. Like I said, I got big like Ultraman kind of vibes with like the letters and everything flying across, or the glyphs flying across the screen. Each of the 3 different episodes we talked about had like a different anime influence that I could definitely see kind of going throughout it. I'm super excited to see how this goes on. I want to thank you guys. Danny, final thoughts on the 2 episodes that you watched there and kind of the quality of Hammer and Bolter?
So like I wouldn't say that it's my favorite animation style. I think it's pretty good, but like it's not like as clean as like super professional stuff, but it's really good like content. And like I even got over it. I was like, okay, I'm starting to dig this at the end of the first episode of Hammer and Bolter. And I'm excited to see what they do next with what is effectively Warhammer 40K Visions, like the new Star Wars show that's coming out. Yeah, it's like that.
No.
I'm very excited to see what happens next.
I thought you were talking about that awful White Dwarf off split they did a couple years ago.
No,
for
yeah.
like
I
6
didn't
months.
want, not to be confused with that.
Tanner, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Loved hearing your insight. I would definitely recommend checking out Hammer and Bolter any way you can. It is a phenomenal way to spend an hour, little 20-minute chunks of different areas of the Warhammer universe, and a much better way to spend your time than watching the heavy metal masterclass and then just throwing all of your models and paint in the trash.
I would strongly disagree. If you think you can paint, you should watch Louis Sugden paint a face. You have no idea what you're doing. And if you like Genndy Tarkovsky, you should watch all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, this, I think, guys, is going to round us out for another week. And unlike last week when I just kind of just jumped it on and surprised it, we're going to wrap this up in a little bit here. Tanner, thank you so much for coming on. I want to advertise the next month, the Lore Bros will be back at 100% strength to talk about book 2 of the Aaron Dembski-Bowden trilogy, Black Legion, to talk more about Iskander Khayyar. Next week, Scary from the Scarecast is going to be joining us. Excited to have that conversation. If you can't wait that long for Scary, and not many people can, definitely check out 40K Game Changers with Steve Joel. Scary is his most recent guest, and he does an amazing interview with Scary, which again was just a really great listen, as is all of the Game Changers available at 40K Game Changers. Danny, anything else you want to throw in here before I wrap up the plugs?
No, I think that's it. I'm very excited to talk with Scary and complain about Drukhari, and also how good chainswords are.
Yeah, we're going to bring along all of the chainswords next week on Grim After Dark. Thank you, chat, for hanging around. Thank you guys for downloading it. Go to Grim Dark FLGN to see any picture references we throw up today. We will see you next Tuesday.